For this tip, we're going to be talking about aim. For any FPS, you're going to want to be able to aim well, aim fast, accurately, and just be able to pop heads. So for me, I like to warm up with aimbots inside of the practice tool. What I usually do is just start from the default easy. I try and get 30 out of 30, and if I do get 30, I move on to medium. And on medium, I try to get 30 out of 30 again. And sometimes I do get like 28, 29, 27. These things happen, you miss one, miss two here, but I still try and get 30 before I move on to hard. And my average for easy is probably around 29, 30. My average for medium is probably like 27 to 29. For hard, I'm gonna let these guys run at full speed so you guys get a gist of what's going on, how it's gonna go down. And for hard, I try and get around 15 to 18. My top score for hard is probably around the 22, give or take like one. Another thing I really like to do on aimbots is actually jump on top of the start menu, so you're at a different height at which the bots are spawning at. This gives you a variety of elevations that you have to aim at. So instead of just aiming in one dimension, left to right, you're actually going to have to aim up and down as well to adjust for the height difference. This helps a lot with actual in-game scenarios rather than just left and right aiming, so I actually prefer to do it this way. This tip is actually going to be one of the more important tips, other than aiming, that will increase your in-game rank fairly easily if you actually follow it and practice it and get better at it. So this one is for crosshair placement. Most people, when I play in low elo with my friends on a Smurf, I always see them looking at the ground, or I see them like looking at walls and they're not really doing the right thing, looking at the right places. So they always get the second bullet off while the opponent's getting the first bullet off. So for crosshair placement, you always want it to be head level of where you're looking. Head level, head level. When you're going around a corner, let's say you're checking this corner, you always want to bring it around like this to sweep it, right? So if he is standing on an off angle, your crosshair still goes over his face. You can't just go like this and expect him to be in this corner every time, you know? He could be standing right here and you can't see him from here. So if you swing on him like this, it's definitely a lot better to go around with your crosshair rather than just swing like this, unless you know 100% that he's in this corner. Another thing about crosshair placement is height difference. So let's say, and I see this a lot, I always see this on bind if you're going up mid B. I always see this on Haven when they're going up the stairs on mid. People aim, if let's say this is the ramp up to where I want to go. A lot of people just look straight. Even if your crosshair placement is good for your height, you always have to adjust for their height. Let's say they could peek out of this door. You're gonna want your crosshair to be up here, and you can move it down as you get up, but you always want it to be at head level of where you think your opponent is. So with this next tip, we're gonna talk about footsteps. Audio cues are so important in this game. I can't stress that enough. If you hear someone running, you can almost pinpoint the exact location of where they are, where they're heading to as well. So you could cut them off before they actually reach, let's say, your flank. Knowing when the right time to shift walk versus run is extremely important, and people in my elo, and I'm Diamond 1 by the way, don't even know when the right time to run away is. Let's say you're in A site, you're executing A, you're trying to take A, and you want to rotate because you heard a lot of people run on. So that's one audio cue already. You heard people running into A site, meaning they're leaving their sites to rotate onto A, so there's less people on the other sites. Now you want to walk out. You want to still make noise, long A, but you want to walk out. So that's just one example. If you run out, they know you're leaving and they're going to rotate back to their own sites. And they're going to get there before you because CT is usually faster to get to one site to another to make it more fair for CTs. But one thing you could see that might help you is on your minimap. Obviously in the practice tool there is no minimap, so I have to hold caps lock. There is a circle showing you at what distance they can start hearing you at, and the moment they enter the circle, it's actually fairly loud, so you have to be careful and wary of that. So let's say something as a as a landmark. So the corner of this tower, this long tower, at this very corner, they could start hearing you. See? So this is the distance at which they could hear you, which is a pretty good distance since you could hear through walls and you can hear pretty clearly of which direction you're running at. So at this point, you could already be heard by whoever's even inside of the tower. This is why if you get killed from behind, maybe, that you're like, wow, he peeked at just the right time, or oh wow, I got timing. Like sometimes it is timing, but most of the time no, it's because they hear you running. That's why they swing at you and you're just very unprepared while you're running. You know, you're not looking directly at them. So this tip kind of ties in with footsteps and crosshair placement. What I see too often in low to middle elo is that they don't use their mouse for movement enough. A lot of people just use WASD and they don't use their mouse, or they barely use it and use it within like 45 degrees just to look this much. And on the other hand, I do see a lot of people only hold W and run around like this too, which is also very bad. Okay, so from here I'm holding W, now I'm holding WD. Since I'm holding WD and I'm still moving in a straight line, not hugging this corner. If I hug the corner and I try and peek like this, I'd say 7 out of 10 times they beat me, and 3 out of 10 times I beat them. If they're watching this at least. Since you're coming out of here, they always see your shoulder first. Like you can't see them, but they could definitely see you right now. On the other hand, if you're further back and you swing like this, you guys see each other at around the same time. So in this case, holding WD right now gives me freedom to aim where I want, to put my crosshair where I want, while putting my body and my avatar in a good position. This way you get peeker's advantage and you get the freedom of aiming where you want to aim. When I'm checking corners, I'm not just holding W. Most of the times I'm holding 2 keys at a time going around at the corner. This way I could stay far away from the angle and at the same time I could aim where I want to, going where I want to.